Hello everyone, welcome to the Very Vibrant Makeup channel. Today we're actually going to do a palette review, which I haven't done in quite some time, and I've actually had this palette for quite some time as well. When is the last one I did? I can't even remember the last one I did, but I figured I would just do this anyways. I've been using this quite a bit, so it's not going to be like a first impressions type deal. I've had this for quite some time, like I said. It's going to be the Millennial Pink from Melt. Now, a lot of people have had, and I've noticed, and I kind of wanted to wait on this to see if I would have the same result and just kind of see what people think of it. So usually when Melt Cosmetics comes out with a new palette, like the big one was the, what was it called? Obsessions, the Smoke Obsessions. This palette, I've done, I believe, a review on the Impulsive, the Smoke Sessions, and the Gemini. I don't remember if I've done the Radioactive or the, no, I haven't done the Vita and the Muerte palette. I'm going to probably save this for another day. I will do a review on these because I got these for Christmas, so I wanted to kind of do that, and I haven't really been doing my makeup channel since then. So, yeah, I figured we'll see what I can do with this palette to make maybe people that have doubted it or not sure about it, maybe make it a little bit more positive, because I've heard a lot of bad reviews on it, and I'll probably read some of those reviews for you so that you can understand what kind of reviews it's been getting. Alright, so I did get mine from Sephora's website. It's retailed at $58, and it has 3-star review. There's 42 reviews on it, and I wanted to, there's some that are 5-star. Some of them are pretty like, it's meh, because considering I really love the Smoke Obsessions palette. It's very pretty, it's very unique, it's very easy to blend. Same with my Gemini palette, and what's another one? The Impulsive palette. It's really good too. Like, every single palette that I've gotten from Melt has been pretty good. Okay, here's a 3-star. Can't blend dark and light. I own nearly all of Melt's palettes, and I'm a huge fan of Melt. And however, this palette is disappointing. The initial pink works well together, but they don't have a very deep pink color. And I totally agree with that. When I first started using it, there is a contrast of pink and black. See? So you have your black shade, you have a dark gray, but there's nothing in between this shade here, which is Modern Love, and like GF or Euphoria. So there's really nothing to really mix it, and I totally get what this person is saying. Started from the bottom and blending upward, blending out the crease. Placing the product where I want it, then blending. However, it is remarkably difficult to blend the dark colors into the pink. And I totally get that because it does muddy up a lot. So I totally agree with that person that reviewed it. Here's a good one. This is actually a good review. About this palette without zero complaints. I love the color story. And the color story screams, I'm sweet and innocent. Okay. It's my favorite color story that Melt has done. Apparently, it seems that she likes soft colors, pink colors for sure. Well, I do disagree with her. She says, I feel that like the hate is just being way over exaggerated. It's not hate, it's basically just honest opinion on it. It's just seeing why people don't like it, and I totally get, like the other person was saying, that the color stories, the colors just don't blend, and I totally agree. I've had that same experience with it, so I'm totally in agreement with her. I feel like a lot of people just say, oh yeah, it's great, but I've only used it a couple times. I don't know how many times this girl has used it, but maybe it works for her. It just depends on the person. So anyways, I totally agree with that review that said that they're hard to blend. I had that same issue. So we're going to go into it again in hopes of maybe one day making this work. Now, I'm a huge fan of Melt Cosmetics, so I want this to work. So I'm going to get, my eyes are not really dry today. They've been really good because I've been using my Shiseido eye cream. It's like a sample of it. And I really like the fact that it works really nice at helping restore my eyes. So I'm going to use my Black Moon Cosmetics brush and the Anastasia, my little baby Anastasia. And I haven't liked this eye primer that well because it's a little drying, but we're going to use it. And then I will do swatches. I'll insert swatches too, so that way you guys know how the swatches look against olive skin. Now see, this is a super pigmented primer. I'm actually going to see about using 2 primers. I always carry my primer right under my eye as well. I'm just going to kind of blend it out a little bit. So I'll use a matte one, and then I'll use a more hydrating one. Let's do that. So we've got the matte one on, and now we're going to use a hydrating one, which is going to be my Sephora one. This one is discontinued. I know a lot of people aren't really happy with Sephora right now. I mean, every company is suffering at this point. So this one's just a bit more hydrating and it dries clear. So we're going to see how 2 types of primers work with this and how we can make this palette kind of not so much of a 3-star rating. Eye first, and I'm going to pick up a pink leather, which is this lighter shade here. And we're going to just put that into the crease. I'm holding my brush quite far away so that I can have a little bit more control. So with mattes, I believe, oops, sorry, went a little blurry there. It might work. And then I'm going to go on with Flamingo Dream here, which is a more peachy kind of corally pink. I'm going to do the exact same eye look. Okay, and then Modern Love. So I'm building my crease shades a little bit because I want to be able to blend out the darker colors, because I feel like building is probably going to make it work, because that technique has worked for me in the past as far as like from the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palettes. Those things were so hard to blend, and I figured if I just build nice bases, because that's what I did with those palettes, then I'll be able to blend it better. So we've got that soft pink going on there. Then I'm going to take a kind of like a fluffy, almost fluffy flat brush. It's hard to say. This one is actually from Luxie Beauty as well. This is the 209. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to build with the gray first. Then we'll put the black. I'm figuring that's what's going on. As you can see, the pigment is quite there, so there's no issues there. So if you just fluff it in there, it does work. I'm going to go back in one with Modern Love, which was the darkest pink in this palette. Now here's where lies the issue. Blending out the gray into pink. So I'm just kind of, and I'm going to actually hold my brush a little bit closer so I can get a little bit more pigment on there. And then hold it further to blend it. So here is probably wherein lies the problem with a lot of people, is that there's no like smooth transition. You can see that it's not really that much transitioned. So I'm going to take a little bit of the gray and just fluff a little bit more on there and just kind of softly blending it out. I feel like to make this work, you need a clean brush. And just kind of blend. Upon blending, you can still kind of see the blend is not perfect, but it is much better than what I have dealt with in the past. And that means really going in there and blending it. Like really going in there and blending it. Just like that. And I'll just apply a little bit more of the gray just to kind of softly transition it. And see, the blend is a lot better. Not absolutely perfect, but it's pretty good. All right, so now going in with the black. So I see, and this, like I said, I agreed with that girl with the 3 stars because that's exactly what happened to me. It was hard to blend. But I feel like you need just a little more patience. Now, usually with Melt Cosmetics, you don't need patience to blend your shadows because they're so easy to blend. So this one's a lot more difficult. Taking a little bit more of Modern Love. I usually blow out my crease a lot higher just because I like it like that. So that's actually going to make it work pretty well. I'm going to go in with Flamingo Dream, which is that lighter pink. Diffuse a little bit of that. And then Pink Leather, which is the lightest pink. And just kind of put that into the brow bone and blend it down. That's a lot better blend than I have anticipated. So now we're going to go in with a shimmer shade. Moon Glow is probably the most difficult shade because it doesn't come out as silver. So I'm actually going to use a different tool than what I used in the past. I used a flat brush, just like any kind of flat, like a Morphe brush, whatever you have that's flat for depositing color. And I'm using my Smashbox one to see if this will bump it up a little more. And it does. This is meant to be a little bit more sheer. But with this tool, you get a lot better color. See? And then we're going to go back in, we're going to get that gray, just a tiny bit of the gray, to merge those colors together. And then just kind of slowly, oh my gosh, there's a patch right there. What? There we go, fixed. That's pretty good actually, I'm not mad at it. Just take hydrated eye, and I'm going to do a little bit of a different method. So I'm going to use the gray first. So we're going to do GF. We're going to place it and then kind of clean the brush off a little bit and just kind of softly blend out the edges with the same brush. No additional product. Alright, then we're going to take Modern Love, which is that darker pink, and we're going to just place it right into the gray. So this is a little bit of a different technique than what I did with the other eye. Oops, sorry, I have glitter all over me because I was doing a painting. So we're just putting the dark color and then diffusing it and then going back in and diffusing it more with the other colors. Alright, so I'm going to take the black, which is the Euphoria shade. Just kind of fluff that in. So fluffing the dark color and blending it before putting on the pinks actually help the pinks work less. So then using with Modern Love, it's not as hard to blend. So I think that's what needs to happen with this palette. I know people don't want to do the extra work. Totally get that. But sometimes if you just like want a palette to work, you have to do a little bit more. And then we're going in with Pink Leather. Brighten up that brow bone. See, I didn't really do that much work in blending than I did the other eye. I think the key is diffusing the gray before you start putting the pinks. Alright, we're going to use our finger with Moon Glow. And we're getting the same result as we did with the paddle brush. Just not as clean. And I noticed that I just blew this one up a lot higher. Maybe because I blended this one a little bit more. Alright, so we're going to do the lower lash line. They're both going to be pretty much the same. Just because I didn't do anything different to my under eyes. So we're going to go in with, let's do Ruby Spar. That shade right there. It does lift a little bit because it's very softly pressed in there. Now I really, really like this color. It's really pretty. Alright, and then we'll just kind of get Flamingo Dream, which is that medium pink. And blend that softly. We did get a little bit of fallout, very tiny bit because it's very softly pressed. So, and then we're going to take Rosé Brunch. I'm going to use my finger and just kind of place this into the tear duct, just like that. And I'm actually going to do something very different. I'm going to take my Morphe highlight brush and I'm going to use Pink Noise, which is this shade right here, and I'm going to use it as a highlight. As you can see, it's really, really pretty, soft, easy to blend. And then I'll take a little bit here and just kind of marry my orbital bone here. Just like that. I think the only shade I didn't use is Mixed Emotions, which is this shade right here. So I'm going to pop that one right here. This one's very soft. It's like almost like a sheer pink. But it actually blends out that really nicely. So I'll do the same to the other eye. I'm going to do some swatches as well. I'll finish up the rest of my face and then let you know my overall thoughts. So here is the completed look. Honestly, I don't this time around, when I took my time with it, I do like the blend. Now, it just takes a little bit of finesse, and I would probably recommend doing the, I think my favorite eye has to be this one. Just placing the dark colors, then blending them out, and instead of building, I feel like this one took a little longer, even though this one is, it's not too bad. But yeah, I do like the method. It depends on what you want to do. Now, if you like doing matte, I feel like if you do matte primers, then you can definitely do the crease colors first, then start building the darker colors. Sorry, I feel like hair on my nose. Building darker colors afterwards and then just blending them out. But what I would probably recommend is for the gray and the black, using a brush like this. So it's kind of fluffy, kind of flat, so that way you can get a little bit more control on the actual color, and that way you can kind of softly blend it out as you're using the color on the eyes. So I think that would be my #1 recommendation on using this palette. Now, a lot of people had said in the reviews that they didn't like the color story, or they liked the color story, or they didn't like the fact that this went from a gray to not even a light gray. It was almost like it went from, there's no in-between colors, and that was my biggest concern about the palette, is that it didn't have a sound color story. I know it's called Millennial Pinx, but they couldn't incorporate a darker pink. That's what I wanted, is a darker pink. So given that, like, the blend is really, really pretty. Takes a little bit of work, but I do like the colors on there. It's really, really pretty. Very soft, very feminine. So if you're looking for something like that, I do recommend this palette highly, because it does have a nice, really soft look to it. It's nothing crazy. There's no insane colors. I feel like you can use the pinks on their own. I do wish the silver was just a little bit more metallic, but it does work best with this kind of brush. Well, it's not a brush, but it's like a silicone. I've used this in many of my videos. This is a paddle silicone brush that you use from, this is from Smashbox. This is actually exclusive to Macy's. It just kind of goes in there and deposits metallic colors. I really, really liked Pink Noise, which is this really like peachy white with a iridescence to it. I like that as a highlighter. Would I like this in my inner corner? I don't know. Let's try it. Yeah, see, it really punches up the inner corner a lot more, but it's not too like crazy. It's just right. So if you're looking for a palette that's just right and not something that's going to be a little bit more difficult to, I feel like as far as colors go, like not too crazy colors. This one's really nice. I would say this is a little bit more sultrier than the Naked 3. Yeah, Naked 3. And a little bit more pink. So if you like the Naked 3 and you like those kinds of color stories that involves softer pinks and almost like mauves, then I would say this palette would be a little bit more on the sultry side. So it has like your intense dark colors, but it also has your really light colors. So I do highly recommend trying this. Now, if you have patience, this will work. I don't know if I would recommend this for someone that's never used blending techniques. I think that's where it is. The blending techniques are going to be a little bit more, you're going to have more patience. So, do I like this palette? I do love this palette. I like Melt Cosmetics. It's a very good brand and something that I really stick by. So, and I do have a kind of like a crush on mauves and kind of like this smoky, pinky mauve. So I do like the color story and I do like this palette. Like I said, I do wish, and this is probably the number one complaint is there's no color between these two to kind of help blend it out a little bit easier. Now, if they had that, I'd say this one would be a perfect palette. It wouldn't be too difficult to use. I feel like it would have higher reviews in that. So definitely, I do highly recommend being patient with the blend. A little bit backwards. I'm going to do the swatches now. They are very soft, but they're very, very delicate. That's what I notice about Melt Cosmetics, is that they're very delicate colors. So the first shade is Rosé Brunch, which is what we used in the inner corner. It's kind of like a metallic pink with a little bit of like a silver shift to it. Then Pink Leather, and the mattes are very, very soft. This one is Pink Leather. This one is Flamingo Dream. So it's kind of like that corally pink, and you could tell the colors are there, like the pigment is there. It's not that it's lacking pigment, it's just harder to blend because of that in-between color that it's missing. Alright, so Mixed Emotions. Just a little bit darker than that one. Modern Love, which is probably my all-time favorite shade in the palette, because it's like a mauve-y pink. And let me tell you, this one is pretty pigmented, so you have to be careful on how you blend it out. And then Ruby Spar is another one of my favorites. It's a beautiful pink. It's like a, oh, what is that color? It's just beautiful. It's like really nice, not a Barbie pink, but like a soft pink. It's hard to describe. And then, of course, Pink Noise, which was my highlight. See, it's like a white with a pink shift. This one I really didn't understand it in the palette. I wanted to, if they were going to switch things up in this palette, I would say move out Moon Glow and put in a shade that is in between Modern Love and GF. So this one is Moon Glow, that's a silver. And as you can see, it's not very like, I've seen some ones that are like platinum silver. This one is not. This one is just like a sparkly silver, very sheer. Not a big fan. This one's GF, this is the gray. And then lastly, it's Euphoria, which is the black. So those ones swatch pretty well. The black is a little bit drier, but if they were to change something in this palette, I would say get rid of Moon Glow, which is that silver, and put something in between the Modern Love and GF. So that's what I would say to be the biggest change to this palette. Now, it's very interesting, it's very different, so that's something that I really like about this palette, that it's very unique. So, like I said, if they were just to kick out Moon Glow and put in something that would make these two blend a little bit easier, like a lighter gray, or maybe like a purpley gray, that way it can kind of go with the tones of the pink in Modern Love and the tones of the gray in GF. So like maybe like a mauvey purpley pink. Does that make sense? Like a grayish purpley pink. I don't even know if I have anything similar to that. So you can get what I'm trying to say here. Oh, yes I do. I would say in the Lolita palette from the Kat Von D, or KVD Vegan Beauty, sorry, Hermosura, this one. If we were to put this one, and I'm going to swatch it here. If we were to put this one in between these two, do you see how that makes a little bit more sense as far as like you would gravitate blending the gray and the pink with something a little bit more cooler? So if they had a shade just like Hermosura and Lolita, then I would say that would work perfectly. I think that's my only gripe with the palette. So anyways, I hope you guys got a little bit more knowledge and kind of understanding on why it had negative reviews. I kind of want to do that. I want to kind of pick a palette that I have, see what the reviews are, and if there's any indiscretions, I kind of want to like see what you can do to fix that. Like if you're like, you know what, my heart's set on it, but the negative reviews. Now it could be user error, it could be just it's a little harder for someone to use, or it could be just that they don't think to or not want to blend so much. Now, if you have patience and you really like the palette story, then I'd say it would work for you. But I definitely want to kind of like pick apart some of my palettes and kind of see what the reviews are like, and then do kind of like my personal review, and not something that's so generic, something that's a little bit more in depth, something that's a little bit more knowledgeable in the fact that a lot of, I feel like, because when I look up a palette when I'm about to buy one, I look up the reviews and it's the same thing, same look, same thing. So I want something, I want to see negatives. So I mean, like, for example, and I might do another video on this one. I did do a video on this one in the past, making it work, but I wanted to revisit Subculture. Now, Subculture is not available anymore, but a lot of people have given it so many negative reviews, and as you can see, I thoroughly like mine. So I'm not going to knock it because I found a way to make it work. Also, like the Jaclyn Hill, I want to make videos like just like the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palettes when I first got them. They were hard to use, and so I found a way to make them work. It takes a little bit more patience. Now, if you're a true palette lover like myself, I would say the patience pays off. So I would say give it a shot. Now, if you want something a little bit more easier, if you're a person that just likes to get their makeup on and go, I can do videos on easy palettes to use on the go. So I can do several things, but I do want to focus on my Melt Cosmetics palettes because I feel like I need a little bit more out there. But out of all of my palettes from Melt, I would say the Millennial Pink is my least favorite, just because the color story isn't popping like I like my shadows. Now, of course, Vida and Muerte are super colorful. Gemini is very olive, which I really like. And then, of course, Radioactive is super colorful. Impulsive is kind of down there too. Because Impulsive, I mean, it has beautiful shades in it, but it just, I don't like this side as much. So, I mean, this is just my personal preference, but would I recommend picking up this palette? Now, if you like pink shades and you like smoky shades, I would say yes. And I can definitely, if you have this palette already and you're like, I have no idea what to do comment down below and let me know what you're doing, and maybe I can help guide you into making it work based on this video. So yeah, just let me know in the comments down below, but I do like this palette. As difficult as it was in the beginning, now that I've kind of figured it out and learned a little more, I like it more. So like today, I really like this look. It's very, very nice. And then the fact that I haven't worn makeup in like not even 3 weeks, a month. I've been without makeup. So I do like how soft it is. It's really pretty. So it's very spring. Very spring. So yeah. I do want you guys to let me know what other palettes you want me to review. I know I haven't reviewed Amrezy. I haven't reviewed the Vida Muerte. I have a list. I haven't reviewed, what else? My Blood Sugar. I haven't, no, not my Blood Sugar, my Bloodlust palette. I haven't done the cake one. I did a live video on the cake one. I haven't really done a thorough review on my donut palette and my limeade. I want to save those for summer. Those are very summer. But yeah, there's a lot of palettes that, and I have flushed through a lot of my palettes, all my KVD Vegan Beauty ones are actually going to my niece because I don't use that brand anymore. I'm just kind of like not a fan anymore just because there's no artistry involved anymore, because, you know, Kat Von D was very intricate about her art on the palettes, like, you know, actually designing it. And now that she's not a part of the brand anymore, what are the palettes gonna look like? I don't know. So anyways, that's the end of this video. I do want to keep doing palette reviews because I am a palette collector, so I really want you guys to let me know, if I have it in my collection, of course, what you want to see. If you want more of the Anastasia ones and maybe rate my Anastasia palettes, I can do a video on that. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope you can subscribe, like this video. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.